Welcome everybody. My name is Kelsey Ross, and today we are going to practice some algebra equations. But first we need to talk about some vocabulary. The first one is constant. A constant is a value or number that never changes in an equation. It's constantly the same. The next one is solve. To find the answer, but in algebra it means to figure out what the variable stands for. So for example, if you take 20 and you divide it by 4, your answer is 5. So you've solved the problem. The next one is variable, a letter that always represents an unknown number or what you're solving for in an algebra equation. For example, most equations use x or y for the variables, and that's what I'll be using today is x and y because it's not going to be that long of a video, so we will just use two variables. The next is to simplify. To simplify it means to combine all that can be combined, reduce the number of terms, and put an expression in an easily understandable form. So, for example, if you have a fraction, let's say like 2/4, you can simplify that into 1/2. So that means that you would have reduced the number and you would have simplified that number. And the last one is exponent, which we won't be using today, but it will help you in the future, and if you're doing any algebra equations, you can use this. An exponent is a small number written slightly above and to the right of a variable or number. It is used to show repeated multiplication. So, for example, if you have 3 to the second power, which that would be, the 2 would be the exponent. If you have 3 to the second power, it is going to be how many times you would multiply it. So, 3 times 3 is 9. So, 3 to the second power equals 9. So, next are some practice problems, which we're going to start out with addition and subtraction. For the first one, you always want to get your variable by itself. So to do that, you always do the opposite on that side of the equal sign. So instead of adding 3, you would subtract 3 to both sides, so then the 3 cancels out. So this would be, you would subtract 3 from both sides. So subtract 3. And then the answer, you would just cancel your 3's out. So positive 3 minus a 3 is a 0, but you still need your x. So x would equal 5 minus 3, which would be 2. Our next one is pretty much the same thing, except you're subtracting. So x minus 7 equals 18. So instead of subtracting this part right here, you would add, just like in the other one, you would add 7. So your 7's would cancel out, and then you would add 7 to this side too. So negative 7 plus a 7 would equal 0. So all you have is x, and then x would equal 25, because 18 plus 7 equals 25. Okay, the next one's a little different. So instead of the x being on the outside, which is no big deal, the number is. So you would still, since it's a positive, you would still subtract 9 from both sides. So 9 would equal 36 minus 9. And then that 9 and that 9 would cancel out because it's a positive minus a 9. Positive minus 9, so that would be 0. And then 36 minus 9 would give you your answer, which is x equals 27. So for this side, I'm just going to go ahead and do this one over here, and I'll do it just like this so I can show you. Okay, so this one is a little different. There is a multiplication in here, but it's just 1, so it will make the equation either a positive or a negative, however it is. So to start out, you would subtract this 21, subtract 21 from both sides, so that would equal minus 21. So then all you would do, you would come down here and you would do negative 1x, and that will equal 13 minus 21, which would be negative 8. So then all you would do is divide this by negative 1. So then that would equal divide a negative 1. So that would cancel out. And then since that and that are negative, the negative 8 and then negative 1, that would become positive because they cancel each other out. So your x would equal a positive 8. This one's pretty much the same thing, so I will just do this. That would just, since you come out with a negative or a positive 11, but you have to divide it by a negative 1, it would just change your final answer to a negative. Okay, so next is, I think, a little bit tougher, but not too bad. We're going to start off with multiplication and division, and then that'll be it for the day. So the first one is pretty simple. It is 2x equals 6. So first you would start off by dividing. Since you are multiplying 2 by x, you would do the opposite, just like in the addition and subtraction. So you would divide 2. So we're going to divide 2 by each side. So divide 2. And then that would cancel your 2's out, so then you would just have x equals 3. Because 6 divided by 2 would be 3. Okay, so the next one is pretty much the same thing. I didn't really put any division ones in here. So first you would start out by dividing by 9. Dividing by 9. So then you would have to divide 54 by 9 also. And then, so that would cancel your 9's out, so then you would have x equals 54 divided by 9, and that would be 6. So these are pretty much all the same thing. This one's pretty simple too. I'll do this one, and then we'll move on to the other side. So okay, so on to the other side. This is kind of like the other two on the last two on the other page. They're pretty simple too. we are going to start out by, you always do addition and subtraction first on these, so we would start out by adding 6, so plus 6 on both sides. So the 6's would cancel out, so you would get 3y equals 15 plus 6 would be 21. So then, just like this looks just like these ones over here, the ones that we first started out with. So then you would just divide 3 on both sides. So divide 3. And then your 3's would cancel out, and you would be left with y equals 7. So this is just like the other one. We are going to start by adding 10. So add 10 to both sides. So plus 10. And that would give you 5y equals 35. And then to do this next part, it's the same part as over here on the side, just like in the other one. You would divide 5 from each side. So divide 5, and then you would be left with y equals 7. The last one that we'll end with for today is the same as the other one. So you would first start out by subtracting 2 on both sides, so subtract 2, and then that would leave you with 12y equals 48, because 50 minus 2 is 48, and then you would divide by 12 on both sides, so divide by 12, and then that would give you y equals 48 divided by 12, which would be 4. So that's just a couple problems for today. I hope that you learned a little bit of algebra today. So thank you very much, and I'll check in with you later.